This is Colin O'Keefe for LXBN TV as we continue our coverage of the Hildebrand Institute and West Legal Ed Center's Social and Digital Media for Law Firms Forum. I'm here with John Corey, founding partner and president of Greentarget. John, in your session, you talked a bit about General Counsel's views on the future prominence of blogs versus LinkedIn versus Twitter and what role they envision those playing in the near future. Can you talk a bit about that and how and what they see being the most important going forward?
Yeah, I think it was very interesting, and we saw this in 2010 as well. We asked counsel, to what extent do they believe that a prominent blog will play a role in influencing their decisions to hire outside lawyers and law firms. 50% agreed or somewhat agreed with that statement in 2010. It nudged up ever so slightly in 2012. 55% agreed or somewhat agreed with it. We asked similar questions for Twitter. Having a vibrant Twitter feed. We also asked about LinkedIn, the number of connections, and we found that there was a significant decrease in terms of the feeling that that an active Twitter feed would have impact on a hiring decision, and that the impact of LinkedIn, the volume of connections, that would be meaningful in terms of influencing hiring decisions. So blogs definitely, when done well, we're seeing having a great deal of influence on business development.
Definitely, and that's interesting because you see Twitter and LinkedIn get a lot of the buzz right now. And then also, of course, you mentioned that you did the report first in 2010, correct?
Yes.
And then updated it. And you talked a lot about the leveling off of social media use by General Counsel. What can you tell me about that, how things have progressed over the past couple of years?
Yeah, very interesting. Blog usage, in both years has been consistent across age groups, which is great, showing that the credibility, the reliability is very much there in the eyes of in-house counsel. But for the big three social media platforms in particular, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, we found that in 2010, there was very much a generational divide. Counsel in their 30s were active users, but as we got into the subsequent age groups, counsel in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, there's a pretty sharp decline in usage. Now, flashing forward to 2012, we're seeing that there's very much a leveling off trend at play. Using those same platforms, we're seeing that the younger counsel, those in their 30s, their usage is stabilizing, even coming down in many respects, whereas counsel in their 40s, 50s, and 60s are greatly increasing their usage. So it's a much more level, mainstreamed effect that we're seeing in 2012.
And of course, with social media, everyone wants to know that they're being heard, but based on your report, it's sometimes hard to know when you're dealing with general counsel and people who are seeking your services. Can you tell me more about how engagement, things like comments and links, may not be the determining factor in social media success for law firms?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for the last several years, we've been seeing consumer marketing social media metrics applied to the B2B space and for legal marketing. And I think our latest study shows that that's just not the case. I've talked about this invisible user trend where we see that a lot of in-house counsel, they have a voracious appetite for content. They're reading blogs, they're consuming information, they're looking for that non-filtered, specialized information from lawyers, but they're not giving any public indication that they're doing so. So we think that that has a lot of implications for how we think about measuring the ROI of these tools.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Once again, that was John Corey, founding partner and president of Greentarget. For more of our interviews from the Hildebrand Institute and West Legal Ed Center's Social and Digital Media for Law Firms Forum, check us out at lxbn.lexblog.com. Thanks, John.
Thank you.